Hello, everyone. My name is Jason, and welcome to the Babblegeeks Podcast number 4. And as always, to my left is my co-host and cohort, Kacey.
Hello, everyone.
That's right. This is the first Babblegeeks Podcast after the holiday break, the long holiday break.
Very long holiday break.
And we are kicking off the year with a podcast about the Oscar nominations,
they
obviously.
Announced them early this morning.
Yeah, so whenever you're listening to this, we're recording this the day of the Oscar nominations announcement. And all week we've been talking Oscar bait movies.
Yeah.
And watching Oscar bait movies. And starting to compile our top 10 list of 2014. That podcast is coming next week.
Because we haven't quite gotten around to all of them.
No, we haven't seen all the films yet. We're not going to see all the films nominated, by the way, but we're going to see all the films that, respectively, we each want to see, so that we know, like Inherent Vice, for instance.
Which we were going to watch tonight, but had technical difficulties, and we'll be watching next week.
Probably be going.
We're going to the movies.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's the only place it's playing is at the movies.
I know.
All right. Okay, guys. And this, until the Oscar broadcast, our podcasts are going to be Oscar movie themed, because next week, top 10.
We got some fun stuff planned.
Yeah, we've got some cool podcasts planned for the Oscar season, talking about great movies from the past. Not from the long ago past.
Probably around, 90s?
Start with like 1990
Yeah.
at the earliest, and go forward from there. But anyway, that'll be in the future. Anyway, guys, if you shop Amazon, if you buy rucksacks or ding-dongs or Blu-rays or whatever it is you want, if you will just click, if you'll go to babblegeeks.com, we have a banner. Well, we don't have a banner. We have a link to Amazon.
It's a little button.
A little button, yeah. You push that button, and it takes you directly to Amazon, and you can shop the breadth and the width of Amazon as you normally would, and then we get a small percentage of any purchases to help keep this podcast going. So, any other suggestions for things people might need on Amazon that they may not have thought of?
You can get, one time with a gift certificate, I bought some Drake's coffee cakes because they don't sell them down here. Because of Seinfeld. That Seinfeld episode made me want a Drake's coffee cake, and I got them from Amazon.
Yeah. So anyway.
And they sell diapers and,
And adult
diapers as well, yes.
Which I'm wearing. No, I'm not wearing.
No, you're not. I wouldn't be sitting
next to me.
No.
Okay. Anyway, guys, and of course, obviously, Blu-rays.
Definitely.
All right. So now on to the nominees. What we're going to do, we're just going to talk about the nominees. We're going to do Best Picture, and we're going to do Best Director, Actor, Actress, Supporting Roles, and maybe a couple of technical...
Writing. Definitely writing.
Writing, yeah. We're not going to dive into every single category.
And editing for my pleasure.
Just the main ones, yeah.
Yeah.
So let's just dive right in, and we're going to give our thoughts on it. Best Picture.
I'm so contrary immediately. Isn't it funny?
Mary, Mary, quite contrary. How does your garden grow? Yeah, I disagree with a few of these myself, although I am pleased with a couple that are included.
So am I.
All right, let's just start right off. The American Sniper, have not seen. This is kind of, for me at least, a kind of late to the game. Oh, American Sniper's getting some buzz around it. Maybe I should see it. It didn't really look like my cup of tea, but I'm going to try to give it a look-see.
I'd like to see it.
Yeah.
I like Bradley Cooper lately. He's proven himself far beyond The Hangover in the past however many movies.
Exactly, like The Hangover Part 2.
No,
The Hangover
The
Part
Hangover
3.
trilogy.
Right.
After that, and during that, some very good acting from him. I dig him now.
Are you talking about that raccoon from that Guardians movie?
He ain't no raccoon.
He's a
He's
rocket.
a one of a kind.
He's a rocket
only
raccoon.
Thing. Okay, let's not talk like Hicks. We hear plenty of that out and about.
Yeah. Oh, and not in a fun way either. In a you got a real pretty mouth kind of way.
Yeah.
All right, so I really can't comment much on American Sniper because I haven't seen it. I mean, the one thing of note, obviously, it is a Clint Eastwood movie now. There have been a lot of Clint Eastwood movies this century that have won Academy Awards that I didn't quite agree with.
Yeah, gotta agree with you.
A lot of nominations, a lot of wins. I didn't quite get on board with that. But the Clint Eastwood of, say, Unforgiven is...
The only Western other than 3:10 to Yuma that I like.
Yeah.
I don't care for Westerns, but Unforgiven is good.
It's a great film. Okay, so let's move on. Birdman, or The Unexpected Virtue of Ignorance, as the full title is. We saw Birdman.
Saw Birdman.
So we can definitely comment on that. It deserves to be on the list, number one.
I haven't seen Inherent Vice yet, so it's not on my list. But as of now, Birdman is number 5 on my list.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh. I'm not going to place anything on my list yet.
I
know what my number 1 is.
I'm bold.
Oh, you're bold. Oh, mixing it up.
I'm placing without having seen everything, but it'll get all mixed up, and next time it'll be
Y'all
different.
saucy.
Yeah, that's right. I'm a saucy dame.
You got a sass mouth on you.
Michael Keaton. He didn't
Sorry,
actually
I had to slap you around.
Me around. Michael Keaton is the big thing about it. Oh my God, Michael Keaton. But I think for me, the enjoyment of the movie was pretty much any second of time that Edward Norton was on the screen.
He nearly stole the movie. He nearly. Michael Keaton was fantastic. Edward Norton, was just hilarious. I mean, absolutely hilarious character. I couldn't get enough of him. I wanted the whole movie to be centered around him. The writing of his character,
and then his performance of that character were lovely. He was so funny. Edward Norton needs to just do comedy because...
But smart comedy.
Yeah, smart comedy. He's so funny. And I like the scenes with him and Emma Stone.
Yeah, those were nice.
I loved Emma Stone in it.
Yeah. I usually don't... I'm not the biggest Emma Stone fan.
And I love her.
I mean, I like her, but in this she was... Did she get nominated?
Yeah, she did.
She was exceptional.
She deserved to get nominated. But Michael Keaton for me still... Edward Norton was the most enjoyable thing, but Michael Keaton... Wow, I was so happy for him to get a role like that because I've always liked him.
Yeah, he's a nice...
in my opinion, I thought Beetlejuice was worthy of a nomination for acting because I thought he was...
Yeah, back in those days, the Academy members were pretty stodgy and didn't go for films like that.
Right.
Next. Well, the one thing I want to say about Birdman...
Save the next one for last, actually, of this group. Skip it and come back to it.
That?
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. What were you going to say about Birdman?
I was going to say that on a technical level, Birdman, any of you guys out there who are film lovers and you're on the fence about Birdman, I'd say go ahead and see it, even if it's not your cup of tea, because the editing, the way it was shot and edited, is very unique. It's kind of a one-shot, happens in the span of...
Yeah.
It doesn't happen in a span of 2 hours.
No.
But
it
which
feels
is interesting.
like it's a continuous flow of one thing.
They use tricks, digital tricks, and things like going into a door where it's dark and then coming out into the light and things like that to make transitions, but it gives the feel of a continuous camera movement.
Right.
So just on a technical level.
And also, for Birdman, it's really good satire. Actors making fun of actors.
It's almost too much satire, but it's head spinning.
Edward Norton's character, he is good for him completely making fun of actors.
It's almost too much because it's sometimes very, very difficult to know when your character is being real or not.
Right.
I think that's kind of the point because of the sort of hallucinatory aspect of Birdman's life. Okay. She wants me to talk about the Grand Budapest Hotel. Budapest. As she sits there checking her Twitter.
Thanks.
That's real good. Even on the podcast.
Grand Budapest Hotel, I was really surprised that it got all the nominations that it did. I thought it was beautiful.
Now, I haven't seen it. You've seen it. So
yeah.
you have more to say than I do.
Well, I think the acting's really good. I understand why he chose to shoot it in you're the technical one. What's the ratio?
Full frame or Academy 1331, whatever you want to call it.
Square, kinda.
The square where you got the black bars on the sides when you got one of them widescreen TVs.
It was like eye candy. Gorgeous colors. The colors are amazing. The story was nice. It was funny. Ralph Fiennes was hilarious. Absolutely hilarious.
You said the main drawback was the story.
For me,
yeah.
And obviously, since it's nominated for writing as well, they didn't agree. I thought that the story needed more. Like, it wasn't anything special. What was special about it was the technical stuff. It was gorgeous. It was edited well. It was the cinematography just amazing, and his view of the world that he likes to put on screen is candy. It's always candy.
Well, now that it's got a lot of hoopla surrounding it, I'm gonna have to give it a look-see. I just haven't gotten around to it yet, but I will before I compile my top 10 list. I guess we'll move on since we've got a lot of nominations here. Next up is the Imitation Game, which we just watched last night.
Yes.
And both loved it.
Mm-hmm.
And instantly, it's definitely on my top 10 list. I won't say where it's going to fall, but it's definitely in there.
Yeah, I have it at number 4 on my list right now.
Standing as of now, yeah.
As of now.
Imitation Game is the story of Alan Turing.
Right.
Did I say that right? Who invented the Turing machine to defeat the Nazis' encryption codes during World War II, which shortened the war by a couple of years and saved millions of lives. And that was basically the first computer.
Yeah,
When you see the machine in the movie, it's pretty mind-blowing. I can't imagine in the early 1940s or mid-1940s looking at this machine. It was pretty astonishing.
Yeah.
Now, it's not a complaint. They could have gone two ways with this movie, and the way they went was a character-driven movie. And, of course, that's much more emotionally satisfying. And I think Benedict Cumberbatch was great. The whole supporting cast was great. The story of his life is told in seamlessly edited together in 3 parts. You've got his childhood, you've got the present, which is him, trying to build his machine, and then you have slightly in the future when
the aftermath.
Yeah, which I don't want to spoil because some things happen to him, and it goes and it's so seamless. And at first, I didn't like that it was jumping back and forth through these different time periods. But about halfway through the movie, the strength of that started to build up. And I realized what a well-written script that was, and how executing it that way.
A lot of times, you and I not really make fun, but we'll call something an Oscar movie.
Yeah.
This
was
but not. I mean nothing negative by that. It was grandiose and beautiful, and the score and the acting. It was. I really enjoyed it, and it's very sad.
It was an Oscar bait type movie, but definitely deserves to be on this list. Okay, up next is Selma, which we've both seen.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't decided yet if that's going on my top 10. It may very well go on there, but then again, I have some more movies to watch.
Yeah.
I thought the best things about Selma, first of all, I cannot recall the actor's name who played Martin Luther King Jr. I think he's a British actor. He was great. He was fantastic. I don't know if he got a nomination. He deserved a nomination. I don't know if he got one.
I don't think he did.
I guess we'll find out in a few minutes. But anyway, the main thing the thing that impressed me about Selma, it seemed to have a lot of attention to detail, and you got, the usual things you get in a period movie like that about the civil rights movement. But in this one, the thing that impressed, I guess I should say that I was impressed by, or impressed upon me, is that it was a war.
Yeah.
And not that I didn't really understand that before, but this movie really made me realize, you know what? This is a war.
Right.
This is a war that they're having here.
Yeah.
I mean, people bandy about the term race war, but this was a true war that was going on. And it was fascinating, and I think it definitely deserves to be on the Best Picture list.
And you and I had just the slightest of disagreements about it. My main thing was, I've seen other movies that to me felt more powerful, and you made the point, but this showed stuff you don't see like the business dealings of how intricately planned.
Yes.
Like it wasn't
exactly.
I admire him even more that it wasn't just he was a good orator. How do you say orator?
Well, people get the impression he was
just serious stuff going on behind the scenes.
People get the impression from watching old footage and reading from history textbooks in the classrooms that that he was just marching and protesting.
Yeah,
but
and there was so much more.
The purpose of that, it was a military tactic, in a way,
right?
In a very large way, and you're right. I'm glad you brought that up, because the logistics of the planning, the thinking, and like a chess game, he's like 7 or 8 moves ahead.
Yeah,
he's got it all mapped out. He picked Selma for a reason,
right?
And all of that was amazing to me, and that's what I meant when I said to you that things in that you don't really see in other movies of that kind.
Exactly.
But okay, I guess we'll move on to the theory of everything, which
neither of us have seen.
No, I can't. I don't know. I just don't want to. I don't think I'm gonna watch it, guys.
I'm dying to see it. I want to see it. I just haven't had a chance to.
Yeah, I tell you what. You see it, and if it's absolutely amazing, then you drag me to see it.
Okay.
How about that?
I like Eddie Redmayne. What's his name?
I don't see. That's one of my problems. I don't really care for, kind of a.
I know you don't, and
ginger,
I love gingers. There's nothing wrong with gingers. Don't diss gingers. You're almost a ginger.
I know. Maybe that's why I have a deep-seated.
Oh boy.
Fear of gingers.
No, but I'm excited. I love the story's fascinating, and I will admit this stupidity freely to all of you listening. It was not until the preview and seeing clips of this movie that I knew that he was British, because they don't tell you
You're
that
talking
in
about
school.
Stephen Hawking.
Yeah. Because and they make a joke about how in one of the clips that his voice box is American accent, but he's British. So, way to go, South Carolina school system.
No, I think a lot of people may have had that impression, which is why I think they put that in the trailer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think maybe so.
Wouldn't be so confused. They're like, what? Why is he talking with a British accent? So, yeah, I mean, I don't disagree. It's a fascinating story. It just, the way it looks, kind of like a romantic, but not in the way that I like to see. Just the way it's lit and everything. I don't know.
I think
talking out of my ass.
I want to see it. I'm looking forward to seeing it. Oh, here we go.
Let's get on to something that we can both absolutely agree on. This is going way up on my my top 10 list, and that would be Whiplash.
And this is the movie of the nominated for Best Picture that I'm rooting for to win.
Yeah, I think I am as well. When it comes to Whiplash, you're kind of speechless.
Well, unless I kind of went on a crazy, hysterically joyful rant about it because it's not often you see a movie where you're like, as a movie lover, where you're like thrilled and excited when it's over.
Yeah.
Because you're ready to talk about it.
This is a year for small movies, in my opinion, nominated or not. You've got Nightcrawler, Birdman, and Whiplash. And especially Whiplash and Birdman, and especially Birdman, is a very experimental sort of film.
Both, yeah.
And then Whiplash and Nightcrawler are going back to basics of storytelling.
Right.
Where you just have, you've got real characters, defined characters, and you have a simple story, and from the beginning it catches you. And it just pulls you along, and that's the case with Whiplash. You're just within the first couple of minutes, you're right into it, and I was, when you have the experience seeing it in a theater and you forget your surroundings.
Yeah.
That's what this movie is. That's what this movie does.
And I got the joy of going into it knowing nothing about it. And
I knew very little.
And I had the same thing. Usually if I go into a movie not knowing anything about it, it's got to be real good for me to be that into it that early.
Yeah. And it's got, the title sounds like it's an action film, like a B action film.
It's
so when I first heard Whiplash, I assumed it was a Jason Statham vehicle or something. And then I read a little something about it, and it piqued my interest.
I would love for it to win Best Picture.
Best ending to a film in a very long time.
Yeah.
Just a perfect ending.
And the actor that we love is nominated. We'll talk about him.
J.K. Simmons.
Yeah, just.
Okay, so let's get on to the last one, divisive between us. And that would be Boyhood, which is actually, I guess, is considered the front runner. Or
sure it is. Sorry.
Well, Boyhood and the Grand Budapest Hotel, they got the most nominations, right? Between the two of them.
Yeah.
I'm a huge Richard Linklater fan. I love the Before movies. I love Dazed and Confused, Slacker. Now, I'm not just an across-the-board fan. I didn't really care for Waking Life or Scanner Darkly when he was going through that phase, the animation phase. But I am a huge fan of Richard Linklater, and I think it's because he was making films at around the time when I was at that age, and I was going into film school, and he was somebody that I looked at, and I just thought, wow, this guy is so different from any of the other young filmmakers working right now. And at the time, I was watching a lot of foreign films, especially European movies. And to me, it was like, this guy is like a European filmmaker, but he's from America. He's a Texan. And in a lot of ways, the kinds of movies he was making were the kinds of movies I thought I might like to make. Not in a specific style, maybe not the subject matter, but there was something about it. So he caught me at an early age, and so I've been a fan for a long time. Now, Boyhood, it is a very good movie, and it did hit me on a level where the gimmick, as we call it, of the 12 years, the fact that it was filmed over a span of 12 years, and you actually get to see the actor's age. Now, the way it was edited, he edited it to not highlight the gimmick because it just cuts. There's no dramatic dissolve to a year later. It just cuts, and it takes you maybe a few seconds to orient yourself and realize, oh, okay, he's older now. Look, he's grown a little bit. But it's not, to me, it wasn't like, oh, that's amazing. Look, he's getting taller now. It was the cumulative effect of the entire film that the passage of time, I truly felt like years had passed in the span of a 2-hour movie. I did get that feeling, and it was pretty amazing, and I thought, well, then that's unique. That hasn't been really done before. In fact, I don't think it's been done before at all in this particular way. So, it was unique filmmaking, and I think it belongs in this list. And it's going in my top 10. I don't, it's not going to be in my top 5 because there's other films that just absolutely blew me away this year. But I liked it. And you?
Do I follow my southern, if you don't have something nice to say, don't say anything, or should I tell what I...
Well, don't be all grinchy about it, but...
I'm the anti-Linklater fan.
Right. Which I can understand, by the way.
Dazed and Confused and School of Rock. That's it.
By the way, do you know they're making a TV show out of School of Rock?
I'm not surprised. They'll make a TV show out of anything.
That sounds like must-see TV.
It sounds like network TV.
Yeah, it does.
I thought that there was some good acting. I gave it a chance. I find him pretentious.
Oh, you're a bummer, man.
I know, I am. His characters would think I wasn't hip and cool.
Oh, you think
like he
you think,
is?
See, that's the thing. You think he's a hipster, but I don't. I think he's genuine, and I don't think he's doing anything pretentious.
But and that's where we disagree.
Yeah.
I find him so pretentious in his movies, so pretentious and him so pretentious. It's like, I'm sorry, I've given him chances, I've tried, and so that's really, I didn't care for it because to me, we had a discussion where no matter what argument you gave me, it still came back to, but yes, the gimmick. But yes, the gimmick.
Yeah, but we couldn't agree on that because my view of the gimmick is different from yours. Just like my view of him not being a pretentious hipster.
Right.
We've come to an impasse on that.
We have come to an impasse.
And we just have to let it.
But we also agreed. You totally understood.
Yeah.
How and other people like me who don't like his movies wouldn't care for it, and I totally see how people like you who do like him and his movies would like it. It's not a bad movie.
I don't normally like the kinds of, I get it. There's characters who have these dialogues, and they do sound, sometimes they sound douchey and pretentious. And that's not how people talk, but they're just deep thoughts that people are having. I can see where people would fall on that side of the fence. I can totally see that and recognize it. So I'm not a Linklater apologist. I'm not a ranting kind of guy.
And I don't begrudge anyone who likes him. I have no judgment. I think I'm in the minority, probably.
I don't know. I'm sure other people think like you do. All right, but let's move on to actor. First up, actor in a leading role, Steve Carell for Foxcatcher.
Which we just watched
tonight.
What
a weird-ass character. And I'm going to tell you right now, he belongs. He definitely earned his award, his nomination, because that was not Steve Carell. I was watching that character. My thoughts of Steve Carell disappeared almost instantaneously.
I was really impressed with him. But at the same time, okay, I agree he should be nominated. Fantastic acting. But that movie creeped me the fuck out.
Yeah, it did me too.
Creepy.
I had an unsettled feeling inside of me the entire time.
And it was Steve Carell, his character.
Well, you didn't know what was going on in that brain of his. I mean, things slowly started to unfold.
Yeah.
But he would, in a lot of ways, it was just, you started to feel a little sorry for him towards the end, but there's a lot of despicable.
There's a lot of.
It shows you how the privileged elite think about the 99%.
Yeah, because he literally, he bought people for his amusement and what he wanted to do, and it in a way that was extra creepy.
Yeah, it was creepy. Yeah,
and his performance was very subtly creepy. Like, I don't think he was going for, ooh, I'm creepy.
No.
But he was definitely going for, don't bring your children to my house.
Yeah,
it was very unsettling.
It was a great performance because it was.
It was a pretty good movie, but it was like not an enjoyable movie to me. It left me very unsettled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, next up, we've got Bradley Cooper in American Sniper. We can't say anything other than we both like Bradley Cooper, and he's in a movie we haven't seen. So we'll skip on to...
Good for you, Bradley Cooper.
Yeah. Benedict Cumberbatch, who at this moment, until because I'm going to see... I'm going to watch... Well, I don't know if I may see American Sniper, but I'm rooting for Benedict Cumberbatch. I think... although Steve Carell was great, and it would be really cool to see him win, just because I love Steve Carell. Cumberbatch, it just...
He acted the fuck out of that role.
Because I love that movie so much. I think that's the difference. Foxcatcher is kind of a hard... it's just squirmy. You feel squirmy when you're watching it. Like we were just talking about. It's creepy. Whereas this is your general... just emotionally gripping film, and I just got caught up in his character. His performance
was so precise, and every little nuance, every little thing he did, nothing seemed acting.
And I want to give props to whoever the kid is who played his younger self.
Yeah. It was like he studied the kid that plays young Alan. It was like they stuck Cumberbatch in a time machine, and he went back and acted it the same way he did as an adult. The kid was great. It was really impressive.
Okay, so moving on, Michael Keaton for Birdman. This didn't surprise me. I was expecting this.
And I'm torn between him and Benedict Cumberbatch. I don't know who to root for because I think they're about equal for me.
You know, I'm torn too. Now, Michael Keaton has the showier role, but at the same time, that's the character. It is a showier role.
Yeah.
It's not.
He's not being showy.
I don't mean showy like in Rain Man, where Dustin Hoffman had the quote showier role, and Tom Cruise had more of the straight man. It's not like that. It's the theater world.
Yeah.
And
dramatic people.
And it was great. Quite a performance to pull off that fine line of what is real and what is not. And I don't even... There's different levels. There's his hallucinatory reality, which I don't want to spoil. May or may not be real.
Who knows? Really?
And then there's the
I still don't know.
Theatrical, the dramatic, the way actors are, and they sometimes use their acting skills to manipulate people.
Right.
And then there's the real.
Yeah.
Of the real emotional person on the inside.
All of it.
So
well.
I'm still sticking with Cumberbatch, but
I think I'm rooting for Michael Keaton for this reason. Benedict Cumberbatch will probably be nominated, like, let's see, he's got a good 60 years left of acting probably. So he's got 50.
With medical advances.
Yeah, with medical advances in the future. He'll have plenty of opportunities, even though he probably might deserve it, but Michael Keaton is who I'm rooting for because I just loved him in Birdman. I loved him. And
then next up we have the Ginger for The Theory of Everything. Moving on. Eddie Redmayne.
That's terrible. Stop
that. I'm sure he does a fantastic performance. He looks the part.
He looks just like him. It's incredible.
And from the trailer, I'm sure he deserves it. I really probably should watch it, but I'm not going to.
You just casting it out.
I'm sorry. No offense. All right, actress in a leading role. Marion, I'm going to butcher her last name. Cotillard.
I think it's like Cotillard, something like that.
Okay, 2 Days, One Night, and I really can't We haven't seen that.
Nope.
However, I do love her as an actress.
Yeah, I do too.
So that's all I can say about that. Felicity Jones for The Theory of Everything. Haven't seen it, so can't comment.
Yeah, can't comment.
Julianne Moore, still Alice again. Sorry, folks, can't comment. Haven't seen it. Apologize. These are some of the films that really don't come around these parts, and if we can't grab them on Blu-ray or DVD,
have to wait until they come out for.
And to be honest, I really don't. Some of these I don't know anything about. They're like coming in at the last second, like Still Alice. I really don't know much about that movie. Now, here, I'm going to go to this one first. Okay. Reese Witherspoon for Wild, which I think is deserved. She gave a very physical performance.
I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, you haven't seen it. I'm not going to really go into it, but it was it was a pretty good, emotionally layered. It was a good performance. I don't know what other words to use.
And now we come to the one bone I was thrown.
Well, here we come to the one we're rooting for, and absolutely, I think she'll win.
I don't.
That's Rosamund Pike for Gone Girl.
Thank you. My number one movie of the year on my list for.
That did not receive a Best Picture nomination
or Best Director or Best Adapted Screenplay or Best Cinematography or Best Soundtrack. Score.
I disagree with all of that.
And
that
was one of two knives in my side this morning.
Well, it's definitely going high on my top 10.
It's number one on mine.
Yeah, I've got a movie that's number one that's firmly entrenched. It's not this, but this is going to be high on my list, and it's a disappointment. But I think Rosamund Pike will win. I really do. I'd be willing to bet on that.
I don't know. People are liking Julianne Moore.
She is sort of the queen of the indies.
Yeah.
But and no knock against Julianne Moore. I do like her, but
no, I do too.
Rosamund Pike gave just an incredible performance. Sort of akin.
No shit, she did.
Akin to, not akin, but in a lot of ways, like Jake Gyllenhaal, who was not nominated for Nightcrawler, gave the best performance.
Sadly. Very
of the year, in my opinion. If he was on that list with Steve Carell and Birdman,
I'd be rooting for Jake Gyllenhaal. I really would.
He's the one that deserves. Now, Rosamund Pike, in my opinion, deserves to win that. But of course, as you all know, this would be a good time to sort of pause and talk about the fact that we know and are fully aware of the politics involved. Yeah. We were talking about this earlier, and of course, everybody talks about it's political, but at the same time, we talked about the fact that they don't just nominate garbage.
No, they're clever. They think it through. They don't just nominate garbage based on people, but it's, some things that are really deserve it aren't popular kids enough to get nominated.
Get passed over.
Yeah.
There's some glaring examples of things passed over. Like, for instance, Jodorowsky's Dune was passed over for Best Documentary.
I can't believe that didn't get nominated for Best Documentary.
Yeah.
It was so fascinating and just...
Highly recommended.
Highly recommend that, yeah.
Especially if you're a fan of documentaries. If you're a fan of Dune and you want to know a crazy tale about a Dune that wasn't made in the 1970s. But that's an example of something that was overlooked. But at the same time, the things that they do nominate, political or otherwise, it's not garbage. You're not going to nominate that film with Bradley Cooper and Jennifer Lawrence, Serena or whatever, that just tanked and didn't go anywhere. And what happened there? Two big stars,
right?
Two Academy darlings.
They can't be too extreme with it,
right? Okay, well, we are moving on from the actress category.
Go Rosamund Pike.
Right.
You crazy bitch. Love her.
Actor in a supporting role. All right. First up, actor in a supporting role. Robert Duvall, the judge. I love Robert Duvall. I've enjoyed his career.
I'm so sorry.
But that movie looks awful. It didn't. Maybe it's a good. You know what it looks like to me? It looks like a fair movie. And I don't.
You know what it looked like to me?
A heaping pile.
Please tell the people listening that
the truth.
How incredibly positive and pleasant I am about most things.
Yeah, you really.
It's just there are I recall this year, other than some really stupid comedies that are meant to be stupid comedies. I remember when we saw this preview for The Judge, rolling my eyes and sighing in the theater like a just dreck. That's what it looked like to me. I haven't seen it.
It looks like a movie that's made specifically as an Oscar bait movie. Now, we were saying how, the Cumberbatch movie? Imitation Game. The Imitation Game sounds like a kind of a thriller. I don't know the title of it.
Well, but that was the name of his paper that he wrote.
The book or whatever.
His theory thing that he...
All right. But anyway.
We sound like geniuses.
Yeah, we are.
We are, yes.
My point being that The Imitation Game is an Oscar bait movie, but that's not the main reason why I feel that they made the movie.
No.
Whereas The Judge feels like it was made specifically to aim.
It looked so bad. I'm so sorry.
And I hate to judge a book by its cover.
Because I haven't seen it, and I have no right to say whether.
I may see it. If it comes on Showtime or whatever.
I will not.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay, moving on to your favorite, Ethan Hawke. I know how much you love Ethan Hawke for Boyhood. You're a huge fan of Ethan Hawke.
I like Ethan Hawke when he's not in Richard Linklater movies.
Okay, remember last week when I showed you Before the Devil Knows You're Dead?
Loved him in that.
Yeah.
That's a freaking good movie, but we're not talking about. We're talking about these.
Okay. Well,
I almost quoted Glengarry Glen Ross.
I'm actually going to be honest with you. I don't think I've told you this, but I'm surprised he was nominated for Boyhood. I thought he did a very good job. Was he exceptional? I'm not quite sure. But anyway, I love Ethan Hawke like I love. I mean, Ethan Hawke, he's tied up with Linklater in a big way. He made the Before movies with Linklater. And he appeared in some of his other films. But I've liked Ethan Hawke in a lot of I've been a fan of Ethan Hawke's.
I always like him in other movies.
Right.
Always. Other directors get a different performance out of him.
Well, here's an exciting one that we're both pleased to hear about.
That I so want to root for.
Yeah.
But I can't.
Edward Norton, who almost stole the entire movie. Edward Norton for Birdman. We talked about him earlier, so we don't.
So really deserved nomination.
Surprised me in a good way. Mark Ruffalo in Foxcatcher. He was really good. I can't say anything.
I don't know if there weren't that many. Really, I mean, I liked some of the guys in Imitation Game. I don't think his was an Oscar-nominated performance.
Well, maybe we missed something. We might want to go back and take another look-see.
Maybe so.
And reserve judgment on that one. But moving on to the one that we want to win, even though Edward Norton, as much as we have sang the blues about Edward Norton, J.K. Simmons in Whiplash, that's who we're rooting. We've always loved J.K. Simmons, back from the days of Oz.
Yeah, he was the Aryan leader, right? On Oz. What was his name? I can't remember.
That's not the reason why we liked him.
Oh my God, no! But it's
such
funny.
A great actor.
He was the Aryan leader in the prison of the Aryan group. Despicable, but that actor, he played him in such a likable, funny way. Like, that's pretty good acting if you can make it to where you're like, hey, there's the Aryan leader. Yeah. Awesome, that's good acting. And he's funny in the Spider-Man movies.
he's one of those character actors who, if you see him get a chance to be, I consider him a lead in this movie.
I do too, not supporting, in my opinion.
A co-lead. If you get him to someone like Richard Jenkins, you get to see in a big role, in a really a juicy role in a film, and he had a showy role. I will say that to but
he ripped
he
the
kicked
fucking
ass.
scenery
He chewed
out
it.
of the movie. I mean, just
he tore through it.
But he was supposed to. That's how his character was supposed to
exactly.
be. But his intensity was incredible. Like I loved it.
Well, that movie had a certain drive to it.
Yeah.
And it was firing on all cylinders. Everything was just about perfect, and his performance helped propel it.
Yeah, that's one of the few movies this year where I really can't think of a complaint.
Yeah. Well, shall we move on to actress in a supporting role? Patricia Arquette for Boyhood. Now that she deserves. I think she was
better than Ethan Hawke in it.
To me, she was the heart and soul of that movie. Yeah, she deserves it. She was great. Laura Dern in Wild. She was very good. I love Laura Dern. It's good to see her getting some good roles. We're moving along a little faster because we're sort of running out of time. We want to pause a little bit on Keira Knightley for the Imitation Game because she was a big surprise. I think we were talking, we were like, wait a second. Oh, she's really good in this, like exceptional. Right. We realized she wasn't just in this movie doing a good job. At some point during the movie, we realized, oh, this is award worthy. Acting.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm a big fan of Keira Knightley.
Oh, like a kind of fan? No, you're not. You're terrible. You're a terrible person.
I have a nickname for her.
You're a terrible person.
Old Chompers.
Most people consider her to be one of the most. I consider her to be gorgeous, and you're so silly.
She's got big, scary teeth.
That pisses me off.
I'm sorry.
And you don't like Emma Stone because her eyes are too big.
No, that's not true.
I have big teeth and big eyes. That must frighten you.
That's not true. Her eyes are fine. There's something about her mouth and the way she talks. I don't know. I can't help it. It's like Angelina Jolie's lips. I don't like her scary sand lips.
You are saying stuff that I would never say.
Well,
on a podcast.
I'm sorry. You provoked me.
I'm disgusted with you right now.
You was a provoking me. All right, so yeah. Oh, speaking of Emma Stone, nominated for Birdman, deservedly so, in my opinion.
And if she weren't in the category, I'd be rooting for Keira Knightley. But the scenes with Emma Stone, you remember, the scene where with her and Michael Keaton, where she just bitches him out.
Yeah, great scene.
I was like, damn, she's.
However, I'm rooting for Keira Knightley.
I'm rooting for Emma Stone, but this is a case where if Keira Knightley wins, I won't be pissed like I will if any of the other actresses beat Rosamund Pike.
Like
I will be furious, but
like Lady Meryl Streep for Into the Woods.
I think she's probably.
Look, she's been nominated.
She won't be sad if she loses.
Yeah, I mean,
obviously
she's always the grand dame of whatever, blah blah blah. I haven't seen the movie, so it's unfair for me to say whether or not she deserves that. All right, now we're gonna skip that. Those were the main categories,
right?
Considered,
the biggies.
So we've covered that.
Well, most directing.
Oh yes, directing. Wow, how do we? Oh, because it's way down here. Let's go on to directing. Alejandro G. Oh God, I'm gonna butcher his name. Can you please help me and stop? Why are you? How in the world are you on Twitter the entire time?
You think I can pronounce that? I can't even see that far. I'm wearing glasses.
Please forgive us, because like the title, we are ignorant, I guess, because we can't pronounce the director's name.
Yeah.
What is wrong with us? He absolutely deserves that nomination. I won't be sad if he wins. It's an incredible technical feat. Of course, Richard Linklater for Boyhood. I doesn't surprise me. I don't disagree with it. Of course, we know what your feelings are. Bennett Miller for Foxcatcher. I think he pulled good performances out of people. He seems to me to be an actor's director. So I'm not going to poo-poo on him. Wes Anderson for the Grand Budapest Hotel. Again, I haven't seen it, so I can't judge yet.
For the technically nicely made movie.
Yeah, I'll have to take a look at it.
That enthusiasm, I just sounded like a...
Well, yeah. We'll talk about Wes Anderson later. There's a large discussion to be had about Wes Anderson. But we're kind of running. I'm getting a little punchy. And then lastly, Morton God, what a dummy. Tyldum. Yeah, Morton Tyldum for The Imitation Game. Obviously deserves it. Now, there are some people missing from here. There's David Fincher missing. There's the guy who directed Nightcrawler, who I'm ashamed I can't conjure his name at the moment. So there's some glaring...
And we'll probably have even more thoughts after we've seen Inherent Vice, and likely we'll love it.
We'll probably have more thoughts. We may do another podcast. Well, I don't want to make a total griping podcast.
No, I don't either.
But
I will say this: there are years where I'm just like, I don't even want to watch it. There's nothing that interests me. Nothing I liked got picked. And while they did almost completely omit my favorite 2 movies of the year, I like a lot of stuff this year.
And then there were other things, like I'd like to throw in Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, which, I understand they may not put that up for Best Picture of the Year, but Andy Serkis as Caesar in those 2 movies, I just feel like he deserves some kind of recognition. His performance is outstanding.
Yeah, that's kind of a shame, because I still think
the Academy is so slow in catching up on things. Yeah,
that it'll be at least 5 more years before they start recognizing that kind of.
Yeah, I think you might be right. Do you want to do cinematography or do you want to do editing?
Editing.
All right. Because I'll just in passing, I'm big on cinematography, and I was kind of disappointed with that category. But we'll move on to film editing.
And my thing is editing, and
yeah, my thing's cinematography. Your thing's editing. American Sniper we haven't seen, so can't comment on. Boyhood, obviously. I do believe that belongs there.
Grand Budapest Hotel does belong there because, like I said, the best thing about that movie is are the technical aspects. And it was, he's got his movies lately have this cartoon. It was very cartoonish, real life cartoonish,
Right.
And the editing definitely had a big part in what he was going for. And like you were talking, the next one's The Imitation Game, and you were talking about how at first you weren't sure about the jumping back, and then it just works.
It makes the movie so much more powerful.
And the last one that's nominated
is obvious, Whiplash.
And it should win hands down. As an editor, these other movies that I have seen.
Whoa, wait a second.
What?
Where's Birdman on this list?
That's a travesty. I didn't notice that.
Oh my holy God. Birdman's the movie that should win. Right?
No, Whiplash should win still.
Well, yeah. Whiplash for me, because I did enjoy that movie more. But Birdman, that's an egregious error. on the cat. Shame.
Yeah,
shame
on
Academy.
you, Academy.
You bunch of old
blah, blah,
buddy
blah.
duds and dirty birds.
Dirty bird.
All right, so yeah, that's bummer, man.
But what I was gonna say, and I wouldn't say this unless I was truly impressed, just because you don't. If you do a type of art, you don't admit that you can't do something. All these movies. Now, I'm not taking into account the ones I haven't seen. I haven't seen American Sniper, but I doubt it's like edited unlike anything you've ever seen. It looks pretty straightforward.
Of course, you don't know.
I don't know. But of all of these movies, like if you set me down, I could have edited the material. Whiplash.
Yeah.
My head would have exploded.
Huh.
I would have been found in a corner of a mattress room crying and needing adult diapers.
The main thing we were talking about after seeing Whiplash was the editing, and the reason why we're going down to actually, where is it?
Skipping to keep on going. Sound mixing.
Sound mixing, because we both identified, okay, obviously the script, the acting, but really the editing and the sound mixing, and thankfully in this regard the Academy got it right.
Yeah.
And
I was so worried as I went down this list that was not going to be. I was a little disappointed that it wasn't also nominated for sound editing. If it wasn't on the list,
I was going to think we were off our rockers. Like, we don't know what the hell we're talking about.
Yeah.
But
if you haven't seen Whiplash, when you see it, you'll totally understand. It's like these people who are nominated for the sound mixing and the editing for Whiplash, they deserve because they did something astonishing that would literally kill me, or at least I'd be a vegetable.
Like I said, I was totally sucked in, unaware of my surroundings watching this movie.
Yeah.
The only thought I had in my head was the last scene of the movie was, I had the thought enter my head, I don't know if I could have made this movie. I mean, there's just certain movies. I think the director has a music background, which I have.
He has to.
I don't have a strong music background you have to have a really strong music background, I think, in order to be able to direct something like that. You just have to watch it to understand. With the editing and the sound mixing. If
you like movies, even if you don't like movies, everyone should see this thing. It's incredible.
This year, standing out to me, there were some great blockbusters. There was, of course,
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Loved it.
There was Dawn of the Planet of the Apes. There was the X-Men, Days of Future Past. All fantastic. And I'm ashamed to say I haven't seen Captain America. I'm not really big on seeing all of the comic book movies, but I have heard so much praise, and I've seen it on so many people's top 10 list. I'm going to get to it eventually. But this has been a year for some great big popcorn movies that are more than just fluff.
Definitely. Guardians of the Galaxy.
Movies that have real characters and real emotion.
Really good.
Yeah. And then you have these small movies like Whiplash and Nightcrawler and Birdman, and they're innovative. I mean, this is a year where, filmmakers are still struggling with the form to see if they can push it to something else.
And they
And
definitely did.
some directors have achieved that this year. And so it's an exciting year. And I would like to point out, we're not going to do all of the writing nominations, but I was at least happy that they threw Nightcrawler the bone of best screenplay.
That was your one bone. And mine too. Nightcrawler was so close to being my favorite movie of the year, but Gone Girl just was a little above it for me personally.
That nomination made it okay for me because
that's what it deserved.
Whenever I talked about that movie, I went on and on about the screenplay and how that movie should be taught in screenwriting classes. Yeah. Now, I've heard the argument going in the other direction of people saying that it was too scripty, and I totally disagree. I think this is what's needed right now. Getting back to basics, getting back to that basic foundation where, okay, you may be able to see the script on the screen, that's kind of a good thing because, you've got that really strong structure that propels the movie forward. And I don't know. I'm just happy that it got nominated for at least screenplay.
Since it got pretty much snubbed, to me, because it was that category, I don't feel it was snubbed. I feel really bad for Jake Gyllenhaal because I think he deserved to be nominated. He was so good in it.
Oh my God,
writing,
he was such a standout performance. I mean, that's like, I'm sure he'll go on to continue with his streak of great performances in other films. But this was such a, I think, when you look back on his career years from now or whatever, I think this is going to be one of those standout performances.
Yeah, it's such a shame. He got nominated for a Golden Globe.
Yeah, well, whatever.
Which, I mean, I don't have any respect for the Golden Globes whatsoever.
I barely have any respect for, but I mean.
Well, in the end, this doesn't affect me. It's just kind of fun. It's like, I don't like sports, so I watch the Academy Awards instead of the Super Bowl.
Our people's Super Bowl.
It is
I've
our
always said that.
people's Super Bowl.
One last thing, and then we'll wrap it up. I'm gonna throw this out there that, well, actually two things. It's interesting how much Interstellar was snubbed, and maybe Interstellar.
It is nominated for.
Yeah, it was
visual effects, but it's nominated for something else too, probably sound.
No, I think it was for the score.
Okay, had a nice score. In my opinion, that was the best thing about Interstellar.
It got a thorough drubbing at the Academy Awards by being excluded. I'm afraid to say I don't disagree.
It was my big disappointment of the year, wasn't it?
It was a disappointment. It's not like an angry disappointment.
No.
It's just, I love Christopher Nolan, and I love, I love all the actors involved and in the sci-fi, but we'll have to talk about that some other time because that's a 20-minute conversation. And the very last thing is Inherent Vice got a nomination for writing, and there's not a lot I can say about that because I haven't seen it yet. Inherent Vice is my most anticipated. I'm a huge Paul Thomas Anderson
We've been dying
fan.
to see it, and when we saw the first good preview, it was like Christmas Day. That was what we were going to go see on Christmas Day.
Yeah, but it didn't open around here.
It didn't open around here, and then it didn't open around here.
And then the trailer, the girl says just in time for Christmas. What a liar.
Yeah,
what a lying bitch. All right, so I guess we'll wrap it up there. Hope you guys enjoyed. Be sure to visit our website, Babblegeeks.com, and click on the Amazon button and for all your shopping needs on Amazon. Help support our fledgling podcast, and be sure to subscribe to our website so you can receive email notifications. Is that correct? You're the web mistress.
I am working on that. I'm figuring it out. If some of you have subscribed and received nothing at all, I apologize.
Oh, we'll work it all out.
But the important thing is, you're there.
Yeah,
you're in the pot. We know you're there, and when we get it all worked out, you'll start getting something.
Okay, so on a couple of personal plugs. Be sure to follow Kacey on Twitter. Yes. Kacey Esack. Well, I'll let you.
At Kacey Esack, Kaceyyeck. And please come and, if you like hashtag games, please come and play hashtag Friday Fondue every Friday night at 8 p.m. Eastern with me and at eFoxBand on Twitter. We host a really fun game every Friday night.
Yes, and as always, I can vouch. These are the best. If you're into the hashtag games, these are the best. They come up with the best categories or ideas. For myself, Crazy Jason on YouTube. You can just go to the search on YouTube and type in Crazy Jason with a K and find my channel. Please subscribe and enjoy my videos. All right, guys. Well, that's it. Thanks for listening, and we'll talk at you next time.
Yeah. Bye-bye.